So after installing the timing chain cover, the next step is to install the lift bolts and then the valve cover, and after that we'll be reassembling all the other components around the engine. But I've done the lift bolts and the valve cover in another episode. I'll link that right above here so you guys can watch that tutorial. Next we are going to install the crank position sensor, and that is held by a small 10mm bolt. Okay, the 10mm bolt for this crank position sensor is just the small golden color bolt, and there's another 10mm bolt that holds the bracket. That's a gray color bolt like this. It's installed, it's 10mm and it will be torqued down to 9 Newton meter. Both the 10mm bolts will be torqued down to 9 Newton meters. And this bracket for the sensor wire goes right over here. So that's how the crank sensor bracket should be put in place. I'll be zip tying it together because my clip is broken, so I need to tie the wire to the bracket. So next we'll be installing the motor mount bracket, which is this. It's held by 4 14mm bolts, and the 14mm bolts are torqued to 49 Newton meter. So we're going to install the water pump next. So we'll install the gasket before we install the water pump, and the gasket part number is 90301 69007. So we'll install it over there. So this is the water pump that we're going to install. I marked the places where the bolts are of different sizes. One over here, one over here. These two are of different size bolts because they have thread all the way to the top. Everything else is different. Yeah. We're going to install the water pump right now. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 water pump bolts. So you need to torque them down to 11 Newton meter. So next we're going to install the thermostat, and the thermostat's part number is 9091 603129. So this is the new thermostat from Toyota. There should be a thermostat gasket as well. Let's get that. So this is actually the thermostat gasket. The part number is 16325 62010. So it sits around the thermostat like this. Make sure that this nipple is on top while you install it. So we're going to install the thermostat. Now we need to get the thermostat housing. So we're installing the thermostat housing back in place. So this needs to be torqued down to 9 Newton meter. Guys, this oil dipstick actually has an O-ring. If you follow all the way down here, if you come here, see it's leaking over there pretty badly. That's because the O-ring is bad. You need to replace that O-ring. To remove this oil dipstick, all you have to do is remove this 12mm bolt from here. As soon as you remove this, you can move this oil dipstick upwards, and you can remove that O-ring and replace it. Now this is the O-ring's part number. It's 96721 19010. It looks like this. It's better to replace that O-ring. So we need to remove this O-ring and then replace this. See the O-ring over here. So as I tried to remove it, it actually cracked. So let's wipe it clean and we'll install the new one. We'll install the new one. That's it. Now we'll install it. I'll just tighten the bolt on top. So the next step is we're going to install the timing chain tensioner. Now the tensioner's part number is 13540 88600. Now we need to reset the timing chain tensioner before we install it, so I'll show you how to do that. So this is the new timing chain tensioner. We need to apply some oil on the tensioner. Next, just push this tab down, push it down, and push this all the way down. Then lock this in place. You got to push this piston down, then lock it in with this clip. Now let's go install it. The timing chain tensioner actually goes behind here. There are two studs through which it should go, and then it's held in by two 10mm nuts. It can go only in one direction, so you can't get it wrong. That's it. So the timing chain tension is in place. Now we'll just tighten with the 10mm bolts. It's torqued down to 9 Newton meters. We're going to install the crank pulley next. There's a notch in the crank, so that should align exactly with the notch on the crank pulley. So be careful of that, and then you can tighten the 17mm bolt. So that's it. It's in that notch, I think. Yep. Now we can insert this 17mm bolt and tighten it with the help of the gun. That's it, it's tightened. So the crank pulley 17mm bolt needs to be torque tightened to 120 Newton meter. It's a 19mm. So to tighten the torque pulley bolt, you can either use the impact gun, or else there's a trick to tighten the bolt as well. I'll leave that link just above here, so those of you who want to tighten it with the help of a serpentine belt can use that trick. So you can tighten it exactly to 120 Newton meters, which is the factory spec. Now the next important thing is we need to rotate this counterclockwise till you hear a popping noise, and then you'll have to rotate it clockwise. So the timing chain tensioner should unhook itself. So first you need to rotate this anti-clockwise a quarter turn. Just try to hear the popping noise. Yeah, there was a popping noise, so the hook got released. Now rotate half a turn in the clockwise direction. Yeah, that should be it. Should be enough. So I got some bad news, guys. While I was torque tightening the water pump pulley's bolts, it snapped and it stuck inside here. I'll show you the snap bolts. See, the bolt snapped. I'm not sure how it happened because the torque is actually 15 Newton meter and I was torque tightening it to 15, but it snapped. Here you can see two of the bolts snapped. So now I need to remove the water pump to get out those snapped bolts. So we got the water pump out, and as you can see here, it snapped in these two places. Not really sure. Oh, it's rotating, it's spinning. Oh, I can get it out. Oh cool, I got one out. I hope I can spin the other one out as well. Yeah, I can spin it. Yeah, cool. I got both the snapped bolts out. Now I just have to buy new bolts, that's all. We'll put this back in place and we can install it after we get the bolts. That's good news. Install this back in place now. Got the new water pump pulley bolts, and the part number for that is 9011906969. So I got 4 bolts. So guys, I'm just comparing the old bolts with the new bolts. As you can clearly see, the old bolts were thinner. The one on the right is the older bolt which snapped. This is the good one which did not snap, and these are the new OEM bolts that I got from Toyota. As you can see, the one that snapped was much more thinner and it seems of a different material. I'm still not sure if I'm going to torque tighten this to 15 Newton meters because I don't want them to snap again, but let's see. So I torqued down all the 4 water pump pulley bolts to 15 Newton meters and they did not snap. So the only reason the old bolts snapped were because they were aftermarket bolts. So next I'm going to install the power steering pump, which is held by two 14mm nuts and bolts. Now you can tighten this with the help of a 14mm socket and ratchet wrench. So both 14mm, so you need to hold it from both sides like this and tighten it. So here it is, the power steering pump is here. So we'll need to lift the power steering pump and place those holes of the power steering pump on this side of the dowel pins, and then we just need to tighten it. So let's try doing it now. I think the nuts come in the front, the bolts come from behind. Okay. Okay, so we'll have to align the holes in the power steering pump with the holes on there, on top there, and then insert the bolt through those two holes. So let's try to do that. So I got the bolt into the power steering pump. So just make sure that the 14mm bolt goes from the backward to the outside, so the nuts come in the front. I mean, the bolts will go from the engine side towards the front wheels, and the nuts should come in front of the power steering pulley. So make sure of that, guys. Don't get the bolts the other way around. Now all you have to do is just tighten it to 37 Newton meter torque. So let's install the nuts and get on with torquing it. It was a bit difficult. I'm not going to say it's easy. It was difficult getting the bolts in through the back. Now you'll need to use both the socket wrench and the ratchet spanner to tighten these nuts and bolts. So next we're going to install this power steering hose. It's held by a 12mm bolt. So I'll show you how to install that. So the power steering hose actually goes here. You need to remove this 12mm nut and just insert it onto the hole on top over there, and that should be it. 12mm nut needs to be torqued down to 12 Newton meter. So let's install this hose now. Just snake it in this way. Oh, I do need to go on top and pull that hose up. Just pull the hose up like this. Yeah, that's it. Oops, yeah. So just remove that nut first. So next we'll be installing the alternator. It's held on by two 12mm bolts and one 14mm bolt. So let's go ahead and install it. Insert the bottom bolt. So the bottom one is a 14mm bolt. The top is held by a 10mm bolt. So the torque for the two 12mm alternator bolts is 25 Newton meters, and for the 14mm bolt it's 53 Newton meters. Now next we'll be connecting all the wires. You just have to click these wires back into place. Just click it into the connectors. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So there are 5 connections. You've got to do that. So next we'll be installing the engine mounts. So before you do this, just give little support by jacking up the engine a little bit higher, so it's a bit leveled before you install the engine mount. So I've jacked it up a little bit. Don't forget to remove these nuts. You need to remove it. It's held by 14mm nuts and bolts, and all of them have to be torqued down to 52 Newton meters. Do the whole thing by hand. So you got to lift the engine higher right now. Yeah, it's in place now. So you need to lift the engine so it sits level with the engine mount. Okay, now let's put all the 14mm bolts. Don't forget the bottom two nuts, the 14mm nuts. So to install the engine mount, there are 6 14mm bolts and 2 14mm nuts. To tighten the 14mm nuts, you need to use a ratchet. So the torque for this is 52 Newton meters. So to torque tighten the 14mm nuts of the engine mount, you might need to use a deep 14mm socket like this to torque tighten it. So make sure you get that, and you can torque tighten it from underneath. So we'll be installing the belt tensioner next. See how clean it is. I cleaned it with just kerosene and it came pretty good. So it has a 17mm bolt and 12mm nut. You need to lift the engine a lot to get the belt tensioner inside. So the 17mm bolt should be torqued to 100 Newton meters and the 12mm nut should be torqued down to 29 Newton meters. So now we're going to install the serpentine belt. So how to do that is, it's pretty simple. So feed the serpentine belt the top part of the power steering pump pulley and then take it straight to the top to the alternator pulley. Let's go on top. So get the serpentine belt and put it on top of the alternator like so. So it's coming from the power steering pump pulley to the alternator. Then wind it through the water pump pulley and then take it through the AC condenser pulley. Okay, so get it through the water pump pulley and then now let's go to the bottom, and finally this should come between that tensioner pulley. Should come. So this is how it should be. You need to now pull the tensioner towards you and wedge this belt onto that tensioner. Yeah, I'll leave a diagram for it on the screen right now, so that's easy for you guys to understand. Now just use a 19mm socket wrench on that 19mm fixed bolt, and you'll have to pull it towards you and then wedge in the belt between there. So let's do that right now.
Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better.
Yeah, so it's done, guys. It's pretty good. So like I said, I'll put the diagram of this serpentine belt, how it winds through the pulleys on the screen, so it's easy for you guys to understand. The easiest way to put this belt inside is wind it through everything except on the water pump side. Leave it loose on the water pump side, and then as you pull on the 19mm serpentine bolt, you can squeeze in the belt through the water pump pulley. And that's how I did it, and it went in easily because the surface on this pulley is actually flat. There isn't any edges, so you don't have to lift the belt through it. You just have to slide it into this pulley, and that's the way you can easily put in this belt. Next we'll be installing the power steering fluid reservoir.
Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never.
There's a clip here. Once you push down the power steering reservoir from the top, it locks into place. Then just connect this hose here and this hose over here. Don't forget to reconnect this earth wire. So this earth wire will connect itself onto that 10mm bolt over there. I will have to put the radiator support bracket on top.
Clearer, I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just get buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight, gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in.
We're going to install this. This is pretty straightforward as well. This is where the coolant reservoir sits.
Sundays, I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there, glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone, some of us need work, others need fun.
It's looking good guys. We just need to wait for the radiator and condenser. So that's it for this episode of reassembling the components around the engine. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do hit the like button and do consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't done already. And until next time, this is Stan signing out. Bye bye.